And for me, I mean, I'd leave in the dark in the morning while everyone else was still sleeping. I would have had my bowl of sloppy stuff that you can't even see in the middle of the night. I'd leave on the track. The firemen would overtake me at about 9:30. You could hear them puffing and heaving through the forest behind, and they'd overtake. And then when I'd get into camp at night, it would be dark, and the shower water was just about all gone. The clotheslines were full of everyone else's washed clothes, and the only food that was left over was the rice, often for me. But it didn't matter. I was doing it, and I was doing it at my pace, and I didn't for a minute think I wouldn't be able. Well, that's not true. I didn't for a minute think that the guide didn't think I wouldn't be able to do it. There was a lot of times I thought, gee, this is just much too hard. But there you are. That's how happy I was when I finally stumbled past the sign that says you've reached the end of Kokoda, the Kokoda track. It's very funny. The first thing that you see when you get into Kokoda, coming off the track, you have to walk past the hospital. And I think it's very poignant. When I got there, I was this crying mess like that. Yeah, could have done with a hairdo and a makeup and everything. And I can remember a guy leaning against from inside the hospital, leaning against the fence and calling out to me, was I okay, did I need help? And I thought, yeah, just get me a stretcher and take me into intensive care for about 6 months. That line at the top is a line from a poem. My dad wasn't a poet by any means, but he had one poem that he held on to, and he used to recite it to us kids, and it's stuck with me. It's about the one verse that makes sense, that, you know, that resonates with me is, there are many who'll tell you it cannot be done, and thousands who'll prophesy failure, but tackle the thing that cannot be done and you'll do it. And in this case for me, that's exactly what I did. You keep the pace, you find the pace, you get the guide that doesn't lose faith in you, you adapt the situation to the pace that you're keeping, and you put one foot in front of the other and you keep on going, and eventually you'll get there. Same with you, and I know you're going to have lots of ups and downs trying to get the staff to come on board with any of these changes. But if I can do that and I'm the old bag, I'm sure you can do this task that's ahead of you too. Very timely. But of course I did training beforehand too, which is different to that bloke the other day. This only applies if you put the effort in, of course.
So was the fellow that was saying all these things, was that the 19-year-old?
Yeah, about the keep the pace. I know, yeah. They were amazing, amazing kids that they must have seen, you know, some... He probably wished that he was with the firemen, but... the other thing about him, they when it gets very steep, what a joke, they have a stick, and I became very trained at what he would do is walk ahead of me on the track, and I would just follow like some zombie a lot of the time, just wherever his feet were going. Sometimes he was in bare feet too, unbelievable. I'd follow his feet, and sometimes when the going got rough, he didn't say anything, but he would reach back and hold my hand, and you know, you'd have to step down things like this or step up things like this or over enormous logs that have fallen down in the forest. And he would, without saying anything, just slow down and reach back, or you know, pull me up or push me down or whatever without saying anything. At other times with that big stick, again not saying anything, he would just point with the stick to exactly where I was to put my foot, because the track is that terrible that sometimes there doesn't even appear to be a place to stick your foot, and so it would be like, put it on that submerged tree thing, put it over there on that rock, put it over there, so that he kind of, I kept likening it to a teacher, that you know, you're forewarned, you have the knowledge about where the kid's going to stumble a little bit, and you don't make a big song and dance about it. You don't say, why can't you do this? The ideal would be to be like that 19-year-old, where you just reach back and give the extra support at the minute that it's needed, and then you withdraw the support when it's not needed, and you move on to the next place. And that sometimes, you know, they might need the literal, that's exactly what you do. You put your foot there, and then you put your foot there. That there are all different levels of helping people along. But they did it like, you know, in silence, without any fuss at all, so that at the end when I was crying like a fool, as you can see, and he came up to me and said, I think you're a legend. I'll never forget that. I was never so proud, a 19-year-old boy from, the back hills of New Guinea, thinking I was a legend. I looked anything not like that. About 47 years. Felt terrible. Don't even think you're going to do it. It was terrible. It was about, it's probably written on the thing, 8 days, I think. 8 days, yeah. It was terrible, just terrible. It was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm a bushwalker, so, yeah.
Did you hear the guy on the radio this morning, the 83-year-old?
No, oh, really? A bloke? Yeah. There's not a lot of old bag women do it. Yeah, you have. Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much. Well, it is the steepness as well, but there's nowhere to put your feet. There's no track sometimes. There's tree roots that stick this far out of the ground, and they're all knotted into each other so that you can't walk anywhere. It's horrible. Anyway, so there you go. That's my happy snaps. So now I'm just like one of the blokes, yeah. I want us to focus on maths, so I'm going to switch the thing for a minute. Can I ask you to draw yourself a rocket? Have I done the rocket game with you ever before? Nobody can remember, that's good. And the rocket has 5 levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't have to be equal things, it's not a fractiony thing like that. But if everybody can draw a rocket like that, please. This is a little, because I try and walk the talk about, let's do a warm-up first, now that we've had the happy snaps. I should have put it up yesterday, shouldn't I? They would have been more impressed with me than those other blokes. Okay, now we're going to play this game that the version we're doing would probably be good for probably year 4 to 6, but you can see straight away that it can be adapted, and kids can play this game in pairs if they wanted to too. Down here, all I'm telling you is the bottom of the rocket 0. When you ask kids to do this, please don't photocopy 10,000 rockets for them to do. Kids can draw a rocket. Kids can do lots of stuff without us having to photocopy a sheet. Don't let them colour it in. And no, you can't use texture. And no, there are no people sitting in it, and there are no wings, and there's no flames coming out the bottom, and there's no tarmac. No, there's just the rocket, yeah? Here's 0, and here's the number infinity. So we know that the numbers are getting larger as they go up, whatever they are. Now, in a second, I'm going to throw these 2 magnificent dice that I won. Other people win castles, I won dice. And if I happen to throw, for example, these numbers, 6, 3, I can turn that into 3/6, or I can turn it into 6/3, which is
2.
Yay! 2. Okay, I can have either of those. Now, my job is to choose which landing I'm going to put that on. If I were to stick it, for example, and maybe I'm going to say I'm going to do 2. If I'm to stick it here, then the next thing I throw, I'm going to do a similar kind of thing. My job or my challenge is to try, I'm not allowed to rub the number out once I've put it there, to try and put these in ascending order before anyone else in the room, whatever I throw. So I might have, if I wanted, I could have stuck 2 down here. I have to do a little bit of thinking, if I'm a sensible person, about stuff. You mightn't say that to kids in the first place. You'd play it and then you come back and think, what thinking could you have done before you began to do that? Okay, everybody understand the game? If not, copy the person next to you until we've played a couple. And I'm not going to do it quickly because thinking about find your pace, I know for some people the challenge will get a bit complicated as we continue to play because there is some calculations that may need to be done.